Let us take a virtual road trip to the land of the keys and join your hosts, AJ Paredes and Manuel, as Pat shares the blow-by-blow account of engineer Joem Baldesco's APC journey with his case study, Project Cost Control System for Structural Steel Work Package. All these and more on 16th October, Saturday, 3 p.m. Manila time. See you! Pacific Association of Quantity Surveyors of PAQS, together with Philippine Institute of Certified Quantity Surveyors, PICQS, brings you PAQS Congress 2021. The hidden measures of pandemic cannot stop us as PAQS 21st Congress goes digital.
Shall we begin?
More than 15 delegate countries around the globe will welcome you virtually to the annual gathering of QS professionals.
Let's begin.
Australia, China, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Brunei, Japan, New Zealand, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Canada, Singapore, Fiji, South Korea, and South Africa. PICQS hosts PAQS Congress 2021. Are you one of us? Register now and be part of this much-awaited event for practitioners in the built environment. PICQS hosts PAQS 24th Digital Congress 2021. Take part in the largest annual event of quantity surveyors and the members of the built environment as we showcase world-renowned speakers from different parts of the world and deliver seminars with theme Creating Smart Cities to help build the future, embracing digitalization and sustainability. See you virtually! For details on registration, please do access paqs2021.com. See you!
Okay, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, everyone. I am Arlene Joy Paredes, or AJ, current president of Singapore chapter, and I'm delighted and excited to be your host for the 9th session of Patch. You are in for another treat today with the APC case study, Project Cost Control System for Structural Steel Package. But before we get to that part, let me share a little background about Patch and PICQS. So Patch is APC Talks channel aiming to provide overviews about chartered and certified professionals' APC journey, PICQS structured trainings, and every quantity surveyor's road to becoming QS professionals, thus maximizing their career potential. For those who are not so familiar with PICQS, PICQS is Philippine Institute of Certified Quantity Surveyors, and it's an all-Filipino QS organization with a global reach. In a span of decade, PICQS has formed 12 strong chapters around the globe in Philippines, UK, UAE, Oman, Qatar, Bahrain, KSA, North America, Singapore, New Zealand, Australia, and our most recent formed chapter, BIM Indochina. And I'm very excited to share with you that we are hosting PAQS 2021 this year on November 14 to 15. And I hope that you have already registered. Okay, our members are mostly QS trained engineers, architects, and other allied profession practicing the quantity surveying globally, and we have structured trainings to patch up the required competencies towards exponential career growth. Okay, so I'm very, very excited because this month I'm going to have a very special co-host, my partner for this afternoon, is a product of the PICQ's own APC, which was held last April 2021. And she's one of the two successful candidates. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to call in our virtual stage, Bea Magsalin Manuel. Ayan. Hi, Bea. Good
Hello, good
afternoon.
morning, good
Oh, good
afternoon, good
morning.
evening to
Good,
everyone.
yes, good morning in Dubai.
Dubai, yeah, it's good morning, yeah.
Yes, all the way in Dubai. So, how is the weather there?
Now it's getting better, so we're experiencing better weather conditions, not hot anymore. It's almost winter, so this is the perfect season for the season that we're excited about because we can go out and do
Mhm.
camping and a lot of stuff outside.
Are you participating in the expo? I heard there's
Yeah,
an
we just
expo.
bought our all season pass so we can
Wow.
go inside the expo for the next 4 months any day.
Is it the expo is composed of a lot of things, and I saw there's a Philippine area wherein it will
Yes,
showcase everything about Philippines.
yes, yes.
Oh, very nice. Okay. So I hope that you have got the vaccines and you have
Yeah,
the
yeah,
full dose of it and
yes. Full
all
dose.
are
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Okay,
And
it's
now
nice.
also the cases now here is getting lower each day. I think last week's only 140
Hmm.
cases
That's
in Dubai. So because most of the population is vaccinated already, and then they're rolling out the vaccination for the kids, those who's going to the school.
that's nice to hear. At least you can go out and enjoy the weather.
Yes,
That Okay, unfortunately for us here in Singapore, we cannot go out much. The borders are still closed, and Singapore just lost the green line going into the Philippines. So we still have to do
mm,
quarantine in case we want to go. And
yeah,
it's also there's a difficulty coming in because of the some regulations with the
there's a lot of
Ministry of
restrictions.
Manpower.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
why we're kind of stuck.
yeah.
Otherwise, if you want to go home without coming back, then we can consider.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
But
Yes,
congratulations on gaining your MPICQS, gaining the
thank,
certified professional status. How do
yes,
you
thank you.
feel?
Uh, Overwhelmed and also happy because I was able to achieve it. It's not a easy feat to do that because it's like 6 months of nonstop studying and doing your write ups and also doing all the mock interviews to perfect your presentation and all
Mhm.
practice all the questionnaires that you can think of. So it's very
Okay.
hard. So it's like a triumph on for me to be able to do that while doing the mothering side because I have two kids. So aside from
Yes.
so it's very difficult.
Inspiring, yes, very inspiring. I mean, the feat that you had to go through and all the time management that you were able to pull off and then
Yes.
successfully, it's like passing the board exam if you went through it, right?
Yes, exactly. And also it's like an inspiration for my kids because of course we're already professionals and they're thinking why are you still studying nanay why are you still studying so it's
Mhm.
like for them even though we're adults already we never stop learning new things to improve ourselves.
Agree. Yes, we never stop learning because otherwise we will get obsolete and then we,
Yes,
we will be
exactly.
easily replaced by the newcomers. And nowadays the industry is very advanced, and we are
Correct.
trying to cope up with all these advancements and innovations in terms of construction and how things are going to be in the next few more decades because we're trying
Yes.
to beat climate change as well as we
Yes.
build.
Yes, correct.
Exciting. Okay, so let's not make our viewers wait, and then let's move on to introduce our guest speaker for this afternoon.
Yeah. Okay. We are in for a treat because we have Sir Joem from New Zealand. Uh,
Yes.
Sir Joem is originally trained as a civil engineer and he developed a specialization in structural engineering and construction management. After 2 years, however, he trained as a quantity surveyor all through although still engages himself in civil and structural engineering realm. He has around 15 years post-qualification experience in engineering, procurement, and construction. He has worked on projects throughout the Middle East, Asia, and New Zealand. Throughout his career, Joem has worked on a broad and complex range of projects with contract values ranging from 50 million New Zealand dollars to 1.07 billion New Zealand dollars. So that's a lot of money.
Wow.
That's a big project. Yeah. This includes commercial buildings, offices, retail, residential, hotel, leisure resorts, industrial, healthcare, civic, educational, church, faith-based, railways, dams, and other civil engineering projects. So it's all across the the project types. Sir Graham already have those projects in his wing. He is thoroughly experienced in providing cost management advice from inception through to negotiation of final account, valuation, claim analysis, earned value management, and has a strong knowledge and understanding of pre and post contract administration. So
Wow.
Sir Joem, aside from those projects, he already knows from inception to the final account. So he has a
Sold
lot of,
out.
we will learn a lot from him. He has
Agree.
worked with various standards and bespoke forms of contracts, including NEC, JCT, FIDIC, NZS, and NZIA.
Wow, yes. Okay, he is a registered QS and expert witness in New Zealand, member of the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors in UK, registered and licensed civil engineer and certified quantity surveyor in Philippines, fellow of the Chartered Association of Building Engineers in the UK, a member of engineering in New Zealand, and a member of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators in UK, and also a member of Society of Construction Law New Zealand, and a certified project management professional in USA. So, without a doubt, I think he can manage a project all by himself. So,
Yes. Yeah.
so in 2019, he became a member of the Canterbury Earthquake Tribunal for or CET for QS Expert Advisors Panel. Okay, he has a passion for building strong teamwork and positive, long-lasting relationships. He firmly believes that life is a continuous learning process, just as what you mentioned earlier, and is convinced that lifelong learning is an essential state of effective and successful individual.
Correct.
So his aim is to contribute to the profession by championing leadership, education, diversity, and social responsibility. He has a strong pride in the industry and particular in encouraging youth in his profession. So he has a very great advocacy in
Yes.
front of him. So let us not wait any further and welcome him to our virtual stage, Engineer Joem Baldesco. Ayan. Hi.
Hi,
Good
Sir
Hello,
afternoon
hello.
Joem.
and
Yes,
good
hello, good
evening.
afternoon.
Good evening. Good evening,
Yeah,
New Zealand.
good evening here in New Zealand. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I think in Singapore it's
Good
good afternoon,
afternoon.
is it? 3
Yes, it's
p.m.
good
and
afternoon.
in UAE, what time is it in
Good
UAE?
morning.
Is it good
Almost
morning? Oh
lunchtime. Yeah, good
wow,
morning.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're actually around the globe.
Yeah, across
Yes.
all the time zones.
So we are
Yeah, it's
across different time zones now.
Yes.
yeah, it's really great. Yeah, it's really overwhelming for me to be here actually. So I really want to share my experience and what I've done on during my APC journey and what I can contribute on the PACQS per se itself. So yeah, really glad to be here. Thanks, Bea and AJ.
It's really nice to have you here and thank you. I know how busy you are and your schedule, but you have inserted us in your timeline and you're
Yes.
with us now. So thank you very much for gracing us with your
Yeah,
presence
my
and your
pleasure.
PC case study. So let's start the ball rolling and let's have okay. So there you have it.
Okay.
Have a talk about how things went from your being a graduate from the university and how it went.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What led you to? Of course, everyone is curious. What led you to become a QS?
Actually, I think most of us here are graduates of engineering courses, if I'm not mistaken. Most of us, and I was one of them. But then it's really just by accident. So I started as a project manager or project engineer in one of the small jobs, one company in the Philippines, and then I decided that was a pre board exam. So I decided then to lead a small project, which is a STP or sewage treatment plant. But then um, my colleague actually invited me to a company which is actually construction management and a QS company. But that time, I wasn't I wasn't sure what what I need to take. So it's either I'll be a QS or a project manager or an engineer. But then I was actually invited by the commercial director of the company, and he actually interviewed me, and he told me that okay, there is this one project in the Philippines wherein you will experience a lot in terms of project management and commercial management. And he told me, are you familiar with quantity surveying? I told him a big no. I told him no, I don't know quantity surveying, but I really wanted to be able to have that experience, but then I don't know. I don't know where to start. So he told me that. So that commercial director, he told me that don't worry because I will teach you how to do that. We'll be hands on, one on one, and then you can go from there. And then I told me okay, sure. So I told him, so what's the job? So where is it? So he told me it will be in Palawan, and I was astonished at first because I told him, oh, that's actually really far from Manila. So he told me that no, it's no, you will hear it from me first because this is one of the prestigious resort in the Philippines and all over the world. So he told me, so what's the project? So I can actually disclose the project here because I have the I have the permission to do so. So that's the Amanpulo, Palawan. That's
Wow.
located in
Wow.
Pamalican. Yeah, that's Pamalican Island. So it's actually a 90-hectare island wherein we are tasked to project manage and QS the phase two. So the phase one was already built in '91, but then in 2007, the phase two is already ongoing. So I was there to actually be the leading QS or the lead QS of that project. And yeah, so that started my interest in being a QS. And then that time, I've actually researched more about what is QS, what is QSing. So I made some. So we're fortunate enough because even if it's in an island, we're fortunate that there is an internet coverage. So I've
That's
made a
right.
research. So I would have thought there will be. So I think that time the only organization in the Philippines who are actually doing a not actually QSing but cost engineering is I think the CP map, which is they call it Construction Project Association, CP map, Construction Project Management Association of the Philippines. So
Uh-huh.
that's the CP map. So that's I think that's the only organization that's actually handling commercial management and project management. But it boils down to project management per se, and not
Uh-huh.
really QSing. So when I actually so fast forward, I researched for an organization or an institute, but there's none in the Philippines. So I've searched for one, which is RICS. So that's so, and then I've actually clicked on the website and 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 have the courage to click on the training, and it's really expensive. It's like
Yeah.
like one training, it will actually like cost for I think £800 that time.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure
Wow.
what's the conversion rate that time, but it's really expensive in Philippine peso. So yeah, so fast forward then when I finished the phase two and all those related works, I actually started QSing in Saudi Arabia. So I decided overseas what
Mhm.
it's gonna be like in the overseas. So
Uh-huh.
then I was employed by a contractor it's a main contractor in Saudi Arabia. I was assigned in Riyadh, but the first thing here is that the really interesting part is when I came in Riyadh, I was actually tasked, or I was supposed to be assigned in the borders, because one of my company's projects is Saudi Arabian borders in the north. So I think that's the North Saudi Arabian borders, which you have Kuwait and other northern Arabian Peninsula countries, and they told me that you don't want to be assigned there because it will possibly be really difficult and dangerous for you,
There's a risk.
especially you. Yeah, it's really risky because especially for you, you're a Filipino and you're not an
Mhm.
Arab. And then when they saw you, you can possibly be sniped by the soldiers. So I told them no, I won't be assigned there. And lucky enough, I was assigned in the office because I have the background of consulting in the Philippines. So I was assigned in the office
Mhm.
for for my entire for my entire
SQS.
tenure. Yeah, and then we decided to, because that time the companies actually they don't have like a formal commercial space or formal commercial management. So they decided to form a project management office, which I'm a part of, and I was actually part of the cost management unit, or the cost control unit, as they say, because it's a contracting company. And I was actually the youngest unit head in that
Wow.
time. For
Mhm.
I think I was 24, something like that. Yeah, I
And
was
you
24
haven't
that time.
at that time you
And
haven't even achieved the professional status.
no, no,
You were
I
just
haven't. I
really
was,
working it out.
yeah, still working it out. I wasn't even thinking of it in the first place,
Mhm.
because it's really expensive for me. And knowing Saudi Arabia, they're not giving a lot of salary
Trainings.
for
Ah.
Filipinos and training. Yeah, yeah, correct, and training. And I was thinking that time. So first and foremost, I have to dedicate myself to the QS, and then I've dedicated myself to learn project management as well. So, but the first thing that I actually made that time is I actually learn the project management professional
Mhm.
certification from Pennsylvania, USA. So there's a training, which is that time it's like go to webinar training,
Uh-huh.
face to face to the US, and then yeah, and then I got the certification 2012. But
Oh.
then yeah, that time that we've already formed the PMO, and we're
Mhm.
actually helping out all the projects on the entire Saudi Arabia to
Oh.
achieve the commercial profitability of the company. So
Uh-huh.
so that's, and then after I get the PMP, I actually told to myself that 2012, that was 2012, but then 2011 PACQS was already there. So
Yeah.
PACQS actually one of the I think mom, I forgot her name, but one of the PACQS founders actually contacted me, and they said that we will be having a Saudi Arabia chapter. So she told me
Uh-huh.
that if you want to join, this will be a good one if you want to achieve your chartered status. So I told her, oh, why not? That's really good, because in Saudi Arabia at the time we have like a Society of Filipino QS, which is actually they have a training for QSS, but then it's not actually like to obtain the chartered status, or it's not really accredited. So when I heard about PACQS in 2011, well, that's great. This will really help me a lot. And then 2000, fast forward 2013. So when Mom Julie actually told us that she was supposed to be going to Saudi Arabia at that time in Riyadh
Uh-huh.
to conduct as a part of the P3T, to conduct a tendering and procurement lecture for us. But then I think there's a problem with the visa. I'm not sure if that's correct, but that's what I heard. And instead of Mom Julie, it is Mr. Neil Lineham, which is also
Oh.
one of the Arcadis, I think, director at the time. And then commercial. manager or something like that. And then he came over, and I've discussed with him that I'm actually processing my associate, my assessment of technical competence for my associate RICS application. So he told me, okay, I'll sign it. And actually, Mom Julie told Neil Lineham that if he could sign my application. And then, but unfortunately, Neil that time is really he's really busy. And in Saudi Arabia, you cannot go from one place to another place, at least at that time. But yeah, so it's really 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 difficult to hold one's schedule. So I decided to email my mom Julie, and then decided to tell her that can I just send you my documents and all my ATC documents and applications. So she told me that, okay, I'll sign it. I trust you. So yeah, there you go. And then I applied for ATC, and I passed. So luckily I passed the ATC. So I became associate RICS on ATC pathway. So yeah. So and then 2013, I came back to the Philippines, and then where I have an own company which actually just started. It's actually linked to my previous company, and then decided to apply for New Zealand in 2014, and now I'm here in New Zealand for almost, I think we're almost 7 years. It's been a long time, but yeah. So I'm currently working. I started working here in New Zealand as a residential building contractor. So I was in the commercial side. It's like a builder, but then I was a QS on that company. And then 2015, I decided to jump on a more commercial side, which is an engineering company, which is Pegasus Engineering, where at that time I actually decided if I can submit my APC for RICS chartered status. And then 2017, I transferred to Queenstown. It's a southern part of New Zealand. And then 2018, I decided to go back in Christchurch, wherein I am already working with Roland Sons, which is one of the top companies as QS consultants here in New Zealand. They're one of the authorities. They've actually had a handbook as well. If you heard about the spawns, it's something like that. They do have the cost construction handbook. So yeah, so if someone actually asks about, what's your company? Where are you employed? Where are you employed? If you tell them I'm with Rollinsons, then it's a big name, actually, and nationally. So that's my QS background.
So from accidental QS, you went all the way. From accidental QS, you went all the way, and then you even become, you have explored the expert witness part, and then the project management part, and you've also still continued to, expand on your training and get the membership on this engineering for your engineering background. So
yeah, it's really important. Yeah. I think for most of us, we feel the thirst. We feel the thirst and hunger if we do not complete a task. That's what I can feel at the moment. If you're an engineer and if you're in outside the Philippines, and you can say that, I cannot say that I'm an engineer because I don't have the license or the chartered status to practice here. So it's for me personally, it's like I'm empty inside. I'm really empty, and what I say is that, okay, I need to pursue to get that certification or credential to say that, okay, because I'm an engineer, I can also do this. So and what the really good thing there is that because we have this background, is we can share what we have learned during our our engineering studies, and then we jumped into commercial one and consultancy one. So it's really important.
Not just important, but gives you an edge as to how you're going to price things, commercially.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, if
Yeah.
if there's a value engineering aspect as to how you're going to construct it, methodology wise, then you can still contribute and then explore, other options.
Yeah.
No,
I think
because
that's one of the
in some
advantages that we have.
cases,
Yeah.
yes, correct. In some cases, designers are oftentimes stick into how things are going to be built, but the commercial aspect of it is sometimes being neglected. So, with you having
Yeah.
both sides, you can balance it and then provide a
True.
better structure all throughout. So,
Yeah.
with this
True.
entire experience that you've had with your career, what do you consider as your turning point?
I think the turning point is when I was when so I was in Saudi Arabia at that time. I was really soaring high and really aiming for a career that I can be a director someday of the company. But then you will never know. You will never expect what will happen next. So I think the turning point is when I moved back to the Philippines, and then I had decided to have my own company. Plus, eventually, um, I was given a chance to work in New Zealand. So during the time, I was not. I don't expect that I'll be working again overseas. I was actually expecting that. Okay, I'll be in New Zealand. I'll be in the Philippines for my entire career. Put up my own company, and then let's
You were
see what will
given a
happen
chance.
next. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
given a chance. So, but then when someone I didn't even apply actually. So when someone actually called me and then there's a follow up email, that's when the time that I think this is one of the great opportunity that I need to I don't need to pass on because that time I was like okay I actually decided to apply for the big companies in the Philippines. So decided to okay, I'll just be after being self-employed or being having my own company there. I need to go back to the big companies and then apply at RLB or AECOM, um, Arcades or I think
Arcades.
Arcades not, but yeah, but then someone just pushed me because I think the main I think the main thing that pushed me to New Zealand is that they really need a professionals that will help
Mhm.
them to build Christchurch because before Christchurch then was really it's really a ghost town when I came here. So there's no buildings, there's no there's no people roaming around, and and
Mhm.
and whenever it's like when it's already 6 p.m. You will never see any people
Anybody working?
outside. Yeah, there's no people working because they're afraid that an earthquake will happen again, and the
Oh,
buildings will
okay.
just and the building was just full. It's really traumatic for them,
Mm.
and they really need professionals who will actually help them to build the city.
To
So
rebuild everything.
yeah, to rebuild everything. So so that's the time when I decided, okay, why not? Why not share my experience overseas and then come over to New Zealand to help them?
That's
And
great.
and yeah, and
Mhm.
yeah, so
And
it's really
there's a growing Filipino community in Christchurch already, right?
yes. I think when I came here, Filipinos in in Canterbury. It's the region where
Mm.
Christchurch is. I think there are only 1,500, like
Mm.
1,500 Filipinos. It's
Mm.
including the dairy farmers and all the ones on the sales and other industries. But
Mm-hmm.
then
Very
now
few.
I think there are already 5,000 Filipinos in Christchurch alone. So so it's really a big it's a really big turnout and they're actually if not for COVID they're actually still hiring um,
Mm.
um, professionals from other countries, not only in the Philippines but from the nearby countries like Sri Lanka,
Mm-hmm.
Indonesia, and
Mm.
other Southeast Asian countries, which is really a big help. Yeah.
Mm.
That's great to
Wow.
hear.
Yeah. So Sir Joem, from Philippines to KSA, then back to Philippines to New Zealand. So you have what you call this? You have you have a lot of journey. It's a long journey. So for you, what you consider is the challenge at some point in your career?
Um, well, I think one of the difficult, you know, difficult times, or I would say a challenge in my career is when I was when the time, because in KSA, because we dream big, we actually um, we actually needed someone who can be there for us and support us all the way.
Mm.
But then suddenly, uh, because of your identity, or because of your background, or
Yeah.
I'll say that because I'm a Filipino, you
Yeah.
know,
I guess everyone.
and you know, and I was working in a foreign country, which
Mhm.
because and I cannot actually speak um, fluent Arabic.
Mm.
So there's a political challenge because
Yeah.
at that time I was like, oh, I was doing great, to be honest. So I've been training a lot of Filipinos and other nationalities in the QS realm. Um,
Mm.
so whether they can be a project manager, or a senior QS, or a design manager. So I've actually thought everything, and raised the bar of the company. But then there will come a time that there will come a time in the company that someone will become jealous of you. We never know
Mm.
that, but yeah. So there's a political challenge that
Yeah.
actually pulled me down on my seat. So,
Mhm.
but I never cared about that. What I cared the most is that I'm helping the company to rise. But then when I decided to apply for different company, in the kingdom, in the Middle East, I'm not sure now, but I think in the Middle East, as long as you don't have an NOC, or
Yeah.
no objection certificate
Uh-huh.
from your recent company, you cannot transfer for another company. So I
It's
think
getting
that's
better now.
so. Is it better now? Yeah. Well,
It's
that's
better
good.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. At least it's been it's been evolving. There's a transparency, there's
Yeah.
equality, or equity for everyone.
Diversity.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
diversity. So,
Mm-hmm.
but during my time, I think that was like 2013, 2012,
Mm-hmm.
2013.
During
Um,
that time,
uh,
yeah.
yeah, it's like I need. I've already, I've already got a contract, like a draft contract to be signed in one of the top consultancies in Saudi Arabia. So I have the offer already. The only missing
NOC.
document is the NOC. Yeah. So,
Oh.
so yes, at that time, I've actually plead to my HR, so the HR manager at that time. But then um, yeah, the time was it was like, no, we won't allow you.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
It's either in my mind, it's either because I'm doing good, or or it's either there is someone who is actually pulling me back, or
Yeah.
pulling me down. So
Mm.
it's yeah, it's a bit of a challenge for me in my career. So all throughout my career,
Mm.
I've been honest. I've been like I can say I can't say to myself, but I've been training a lot of our comrades, our fellow
That's great
Filipinos.
to hear. Mm.
Yeah, I've never once in my life I never thought of getting them pulling them away, or having that crowd mentality, as we say. So yeah,
Mm.
so that's a sad part of the story. But then
Well,
they say that there's
Yeah.
always a rainbow after rain. So
Yes.
yeah.
yeah.
And if you, if you really mean good to anybody, or if you're naturally a good person, the blessings will come your way,
Yeah.
Of
in
course,
one
yeah,
way or another. Yes. So,
yeah,
and of course, politics is, I think, inevitable in the workplace. It's always
Yeah.
there.
It's
It's just a
everywhere.
matter of,
Yeah.
yes, it's
yeah,
always just a matter of whether you're going to uh, let yourself be affected by it, or
Yeah.
you just do your thing. That's
Correct.
why a
No.
while ago, I mean, I think just a few days back, I was having this conversation with a colleague, and then I say, "How do you deal with difficult people?" So in every situation, I say there are just two ways to deal with it. It's either you react to it or you respond to it. When you react to it, it's more of your emotional side that's speaking.
Yes.
That's right.
But when you
Yeah.
respond to a situation, it's something that you will just move on and then deal with it and
Yeah.
the proper way or the most logical way possible. So
Correct.
it's really nice hearing about your story of your career journey in a
Yeah.
nutshell. So why don't we move on to the next part of our program, which is your okay. So that's APC preparation. So what moved you to take APC? Me, I think
well,
you are in while you were in KSA, you were the first
First,
Filipino who became the ASOC
after
RICS,
supplies.
yes,
correct?
that's correct. That was actually confirmed to me by Mom Julie that time.
Wow.
I never thought. I actually never thought of that because I
Mhm.
actually told her that I just want to be in a part of the RICS at the time, and she told me that when I passed the ATC assessment of technical competence, she told me that you're actually the first Filipino who actually achieved that, and in using and by the assessment of technical competences and competence, not doing the direct route, but doing the more tedious route in
Mm.
in
Yeah.
doing the ASOC rigs. Yeah, yeah, because that time there are so many routes to be a ASOC rigs. You can be, I think you can be a chartered engineer in
Mhm.
the UK, and then you can just apply for a direct route. You can be associate rigs, and then you can be an affiliate of AIQS, the Australian Institute of QS, and then once you become an affiliate, then you can actually apply directly as a
No.
yeah, as an AIQS. So Mom Julie told me that you are the first Filipino in Saudi Arabia who became an ASORIX and doing that ATC. So I told her, oh, that's amazing. But so I told her that I'm really willing to help if others want
Mhm.
to. So yeah, so well,
It's a
that's the thing.
milestone.
Okay. Yeah, it's
It's a
really a
milestone
milestone.
achieving it, and even a
Yes.
further, like a trophy that you're the first to achieve it. You have broken, breaking grounds, and I think it's one way of challenging yourself by going through all
Yes.
these certifications and uh,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
chartered.
Actually, yeah. It's. I remember vividly when I first when we passed, all of us, when we passed board exam, we thought that it's
Yes.
the end of the career of our career of, of our career. Oh, we'll pass the board
The
exam, we're all
preparation.
good. Yeah. So and then after that, well, oh, I need to do this credential because it will help
Mhm.
me, you know. And then so I decided to do the PMP, and then after that I decided to do associate rigs, and then
Mhm.
yeah, it really helped me a
You
lot.
have been
And
continuously
yeah,
challenging yourself all
Yes.
these years.
well, that's
So what's
right
next?
because yeah, yeah, I think the next will be the arbitration realm. Yeah, so
Wow.
Mm.
yeah, so I'm actually
Okay.
I think most of us here, I think most of us in the PACQS, or some of us, have already been they've already taken the route to LLM. So
Mhm.
I'm still on that path. I still have
Mm.
one stage to go. So
Wow.
Okay.
and I've already been recognized by CIR, by the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators,
Uh-huh.
to be a
Mm.
full member. And
Yes.
then yeah, and then I'm working out my panel membership in here in New Zealand. So and there are lots
Mm.
of arbitrators here who wants to actually share and mentor me
Mm.
in
That's
that
good.
side. So I'm really and actually it's I'm really thankful because my employer, my Rollins is actually really supportive in
Mm.
my
That's
pathway.
good.
So yeah, that's really good. So that's I think that's
Yes.
the next step, but I never let's wait till it happens.
Then later we're
Yeah,
gonna call you attorney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On
not,
the
not,
next
no,
batch.
In the
thanks
near
much.
future.
Yeah, in the near future. Yeah, yeah.
That's
So
really
yeah, so
nice to
that's
see. You have a very adventurous career journey, and you can see from the post nominals that you have now. So in Filipino, we call you Lodi already.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Lodi.
Okay, so let's move on to the next part of the program. We have mentioned about 2011 where APICQS was formed, and at the time you were in KSA.
Yeah.
So let's look into deeper about. Okay, so let's dive in deeper about the PICQS role in your APC journey.
Yes.
Go, Bea.
Yeah, because for me, it's been all the mentors and all the other senior members of the ICQS is very helpful in my own IPC journey. So
Yeah.
I'm very, of course, for you, it's the organization is still young during that time. So how did they support you? Aside from my, of course, Ma'am Julie, how are the organization help you to gain your APC, your RACS status?
Well, actually, 2011. It's like a social organization that time in KSA, because in KSA it's really strict. The law is really strict. So that time you need someone to talk to, someone who can actually, yeah, someone to talk to with you have like the same interest in the profession, like-minded people. So that time it's like, okay, we will meet in a cafe or in a hotel, which is an open to everyone to meet, and then we can just share our experiences in being QS in Saudi Arabia or in the Philippines that time. And then I think one of the best support that PACQS that time gave me was the P3T. So I was
Oh.
actually part of the pilot, what do you call it, a pilot scheme of P3T and KSA.
Mhm.
So there's an online, I think the lectures are face to face, but then the exam is online, and then
Yeah.
you need to submit
Yes.
a write up as well, if I remember that right. Yeah. So the P3T, because most of us in Saudi Arabia didn't experience the whole mandatory or
Mhm.
Core
the
competencies,
core
technical.
competency technical competencies. Yeah, that's right. So most of them, they oh, it's really helpful because at least we have the
Yeah.
knowledge,
Yes.
Mm.
the level one. So I told them I was really lucky enough, because even I'm taking up the P3T, I was actually lecturing them at that time, because I was lucky enough because I've experienced that before. So I told them, um, don't worry, I will teach these, like for example, the value management or the valuation, something like that, valuing change. That's what I remember the topic was all about. And then I told them that I've already experienced this a lot. So yeah, so I told them that I can teach you, and if you want something to learn more of the outside the P3T, I can actually help you out. So that's the gist of having an organization, which is with
Yes.
all the like-minded people beside you. You can actually share what your thoughts, or because not it because there's no right or wrong in
Yes.
in P3T in the lecture, because there are lots of standards, or even a company standard, or even your company policies that are really those are really different in one way or another. But then
Mm.
in terms of PICQS and RICS, they have this standard of professionalism. So you need
Yes.
to adopt what they had, and what they have in their guidance notes, because otherwise you cannot be chartered, because that's why we have PACQS and RCS, where
Mm.
we have to be standardized in
Correct.
what we do.
And the
So
good thing about these professional bodies is all these standards are aligned. I mean, there's
yes,
nothing, there's no left, there's no professional body going to the right, the other one going to the left. So all are aligned, the
Yes.
principles and the standard on how you're going to practice the profession, which is really
that's
good.
right.
So in
Yeah.
this P3T, you became the one of the active speakers. In, you were the pilot speaker also for this KSA P3T, right?
Yes, I was also a pilot
Mm.
speaker. I think
Okay.
um, one lecture I was about to. I remember it's valuing change that time,
Yes,
and
yes. Mhm.
yeah, and I think contract administration. And when I came to New Zealand, because that 2014, New Zealand was like there were only 5 members in New Zealand, and that's all over New Zealand already. That's in Wellington. I think there are 4 in five,
Mm.
three in Wellington, and then
Mm.
yeah, and then there's 1 in Auckland, and then 1 in Christchurch. So when I came over, I decided to okay, why don't we proceed with the P3T? There's
Uh-huh.
already 5 of us. There were 6 of us, including me. So so yeah, it's really good and challenges that because there's the geographically we're actually challenged. So I'm actually informed that no, we can actually do it online. I know a software that we can do it. That was 2014, and there
Mhm.
was there wasn't even COVID that time. So I actually decided to okay, we can do that. We can do that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, because of the busy schedule of of our colleagues here at the time, they have young families and they have really busy schedule. Um, we only finished I think three topics. Yeah, and then yeah, and then in 2000, but in 2015 or I think it was 2016. Yeah, we've completed the first ever completed P3T
All round.
in New Zealand all around. Yeah, yeah. So that's really a good
Nice.
one. Yeah.
Actually, Chair Judy just sent a message. In the beginning, Joem is one of the 2 NZ officers who conducted P3T and POP1.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Okay. Yeah. 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 That's correct. Yeah. I've actually
He remembers
forgot
things
about that
quite
already.
well.
But we always
And
remember
yeah,
what I'm doing.
Joem is the first ASOC RICS who went through the long route of submitting a portfolio of experience similar to APC submission. So this ATC
Yeah.
submission that she's
It's the
talking about.
ATC.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and
It's the
then
ATC.
so when you prepared for your APC, is it something similar with the ATC requirement?
Yeah, it's something similar. The write ups are similar,
Mhm.
but then in MBRICS and APC, the assessment of professional competence, you have to reach a certain competency in level 3.
Mhm.
That's you can't find it in the ASOC RICS application in the ATC because in the
Mhm.
ATC, as long as you reach level 2, then that's fine. I think the level 3 in ASOC RICS is only professional ethics if I
Mhm.
remember it right. I'm not sure now, but if I remember it right, it's only the professional, the rules of
Mhm.
conduct and professional ethics, which is in level 3. And I think the difference as well is in submitting the case study. There's no interview in ASOC RICS, but then in chartered status there will be a 60
Standard
minutes
interview.
interview,
Yeah.
yeah, with a case study.
Mhm.
And then I think the number of words in the case study is actually reduced in
Yes.
ATC. Yeah, I think that's 3,000 in MRICS, and
Yes.
MRICS,
in
yeah.
ASOC RICS I think that's around 2,000, something like
2000.
that. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
2,000. Yeah, if I
Less
remember. Yeah,
words.
less words. Yeah, less words. Yeah, you don't have to think of another 1,000 words to be able to complete that. But it's really it's rigorous. It's tedious, as we say,
Yes.
especially when you're still starting in your
Yes.
Mhm.
journey. So, but it really helps because when I think in my preparation of my APC, it
Mhm.
actually helped me because
It's
um,
easier.
yeah, it's easier to come back. Like when you say like commercial management, blah blah blah, I can
Yes.
just put on the level 2 there, and then if I choose
And
it
add
as
the
an
level
optional
3.
competency, yeah, I'll just add level 3, so it's acceptable actually. And the
Uh,
only thing that you will need to manage is the level 3, and plus a new case study because I think when I applied, they need a case study which is actually 2 years old,
Yeah.
not
2 years
older than
old.
mhm.
2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes.
yeah, not older than 2 years. And then I think the CPD. So you need to complete like
80,
45. I think
Wait,
that's 45,
48.
48
48.
now.
Yeah,
Mhm.
48.
48. 48 hours of CPD. So that's actually, so you need, so I think one of the advantages of being already in RICS as a member or an associate RICS or even a member of PACQS, the I think the one advantage is that you've already had like CPDs. You know,
Yes.
You
you
have
can use
access.
CPDs. Yeah, you have access in
Mhm.
CPDs. Yeah,
Mhm.
so you can use that CPD and update your APC document using that CPDs. So I think in if I remember that right, in PICQS we need, I think that's, is it 15 or 13 CPDs a year.
13,
So
yes.
13, yeah,
13.
13 CPDs. Yeah, in RACS they need 20. If
Wow.
even if you're associate RICS or charter
Or
status, you need to complete, yeah, you need
Mhm.
to complete 20
Okay.
CPD points or CPD hours.
20
Well, it's,
hours.
yeah, yeah. And
Okay.
imagine if you're a member of lots of organizations and institutions, you need to complete their CPDs as well.
Then you have to
Yeah,
copy paste the CPD hours and the
yeah.
description
You
of
need
the
to copy
course
the CPD
in
hours.
each
Yeah,
yes.
in each website,
yeah.
right?
That's right. Yeah, I think in
Correct.
NZIQS, I think they've already passed in their recent council meeting that we need to have a like an RICS and PACQS CPD. So I think every September,
Mm.
you need to fulfill like, I think that's 30 hours
Mhm.
of
Mm.
CPD.
A
Yes.
So
lot.
that's a bit, oh yeah, a bit huge numbers now. So the CPD requires for NZIQS, but I need to confirm that. I'm not sure. But
Mhm.
of course, we tend to actually exceed on that hours normally. I'm not sure with the others, but I normally exceed that hours because in PMP we need to submit at least 20 hours per year because that's the 3 year cycle. So that's 60 hours. 30 hours. Because it's 60 hours. Oh yes, 20. Just 20. 60 hours per 3 years. And then in the building in engineering, I think they need 35 hours. And then
Wow.
yeah, and then in CIR, I'm not sure in CIR, but I think they need just 20 hours in CIR for that. Yeah. So and then it's in CIR. That's really difficult because in CIR they need not
A different
not a QS, but it's like more of a dispute
or a
resolution
contractual
CPDs.
dispute.
Yes, it's a bit, yeah,
But
it's a bit challenging, but it's really, it really helps a lot. CPD,
you're
I'm
up
really
for
okay
it
with CPDs.
anyway.
Okay.
Yeah,
So Joem will
I'm
going to
really okay
invite
with
you for the CPD next year, huh?
Oh yes,
sure,
Bea
sure.
here is the head for
I'll
Global
reserve.
Security
I'll reserve
Committee.
you
Oh
to be
wow.
one of the speakers.
Oh yeah, yeah. Congratulations. Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually,
as we
I think yeah. Last year, I remember
yes we
contributing
have
to the, yeah, to
we
the
attended it.
yeah, the New Zealand. I think that's the New
The
Zealand
New Zealand, yeah.
contracts. Yeah,
Correct.
and then yeah. So well, that's great. I really much appreciate that. Yeah,
So there's a
just let me
reserved
know.
slot already.
Yeah, reserve slot for next
You
year.
have to block your calendar for
Yeah,
one or
I
two
need to,
sessions.
I really need to manage it. I really need to manage my calendar. It's been really yeah, especially now in COVID. It's like the work, the work that you do in COVID times. I would have thought there will be no less work in COVID. I'm
Uh,
not sure. I'm not saying this for anybody else or in any country,
mm,
but here in New Zealand, it's really there has been a
Tougher.
lot of work. Yeah, because
yes.
there's no professionals coming in, so there's no migrants. There are no
Uh-huh.
migrants, so they still lack professionals who can actually help. So if you like to come over here and help New Zealand, then
We will message you, Joem.
as long as long as the borders will open, then yeah, you can come over
Okay.
here.
We'll schedule that as well.
Yeah.
I think Bea has a question now for regarding the APC and what went after. Well, what
Yep.
happened after? Go ahead, Bea.
So after passing the APC, what are the challenges that happened to your career?
Um.
Changes.
Actually, sorry.
What are the
Challenges,
changes that
changes,
happened?
the changes that happened to your career.
Changes.
Challenges,
Changes.
changes, yeah.
Okay,
Of
yeah.
course, there's a lot of
Changes that,
blessings after the
yeah, changes in
APC.
my career. Actually, one. It's like, as I said a while ago, it's like board exam. When you pass, then you can actually get more, more companies looking for you.
Uh-huh.
And then yeah, I think it's like a big change for me. It's a big leap, if I can say, because after passing APC, I actually applied for my full membership, corporate membership for PICQS, and then my full membership to NZIQS.
Mm.
And then that time, I think the thing is that you can actually apply to whatever company you want to. And knowing that New Zealand, is a Commonwealth country,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's
Uh,
easier for
yeah.
them to, it's easier for them to be attracted if you're an MRICS, if
Yes.
you're a charter,
Uh-huh.
even if you're
Mm.
ASOPRICS, because they know RICS, and it's
Mm.
actually in their job description. They can probably say a member of RICS,
You have the
preferably a member of
credentials. Yeah.
RICS, yeah, or NZIQS, something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really a big leap for me, and it's in when I passed APC, I was then in a contractor company. It's a subcontractor company, and that's when I decided to apply for going back to a consultancy company. So that's when I decided to. Lucky enough, I was accepted in Queenstown for a QS company there, a small QS practice there, wherein they have a member of NZIQS, but they don't have an RICS member there. But because I'm
Mm-hmm.
both member of NZIQS and RACS, it's actually an advantage for them to have me. So so yeah, so that's when I decided to move to consultancy, and then after a year, I decided to go back to Christchurch, and yes, and then became part of Rollinsons.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Mm.
and of course, don't forget about the package, the salary package. It's
You
actually
became
true. It's actually true. Yeah, it's actually true.
That's
Yeah.
the fruit of the hard work.
Yeah, that's yeah, really. Because I think there's a survey. I think sometime in 2017, 2018, that when you actually in a chartered status with RACS all over the globe, um, you are like 10 to 15% higher than the normal rate. So,
wow.
and then I actually experienced that here.
We'll
so
keep that in
so
mind.
yeah, I keep
AJ,
that in
complete
mind.
your APC.
Yeah, imagine. Yeah, if I will, if you let me share this, if you let me share this, imagine when I first came here, my salary is like half of my salary I'm receiving today.
Wow.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So when
Yeah.
I became a chartered Wix, it's like, wow, there's a big leap,
Yeah.
enormously.
And then
Yeah. Even
net of all the membership fees that you have to pay, is it?
yeah. Yeah. So you need a big budget for that. I
Oh
remember.
well,
Yeah.
That I think that's one of the reasons why it has to
yeah,
be 10 to
yeah,
15% of the usual pay, because you have earned all these post nominals and you have to keep them, and
yeah.
so there's the capital expense of for it every
For
year.
it, yeah. Oh well, I'm lucky because my company right
The
now,
company
Rollinsons,
covers
is
for it.
actually, yeah, it
Wow.
covers
Sometimes it's
for
covered by the
my
company, right?
NZIQS.
It's covered.
Sorry,
Even
yeah, it's
sometimes
covered.
some
Yeah,
company even cover the membership fee per year.
yeah,
So
that's
you can
right.
pay for that,
But for
right?
me, they cover my NZIQS and my
Mm.
Society of Construction Law membership.
Mm.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay,
Mm.
so
so
for the
well,
SEL,
that's one. Oh yeah, SEL, one of
that's
the
nice.
advantage. So yeah,
Okay.
it's really good.
So before we move on, this is a lot of information and a lot of great stories coming from Engineer Joem here. Before we move on to the next part of our program, let's hear it from the sponsors of PAQS 2021.
PICQS would like to thank Philippine Constructors Association Incorporated, or PCA, for being PICQS supporting affiliate partner in hosting the Pacific Association of Quantity Surveyors, or PAQS 2021 Congress. More than 70 years after it was established, PCA is a partner for nation building, a leading exemplar for the industry here and abroad, a catalyst for change, and an organization that embodies excellence and knows that prestige comes with performance. Thank you, PCA, and see you in PAQS 2021 Congress. PICQS is excited to have National University Philippines or NU as a supporting affiliate partner for the PAQS 24th Congress this November 2021. Founded in 1900 as Colegio Filipino, National University has been a dynamic institution committed to nation building and guided by the core values and characterized by the cultural heritage of dynamic Filipinism. Throughout the years, NU has been true to its mission to providing relevant, innovative, and accessible quality education and other development programs. Thank you, National University, and see you in PAQS 2021.
There you have it. We are now going to the next part of our program, which is your final case study presentation. So let's share our screen. Let me share my screen. There you go. Oh, and your case study, the project cost control system for structural steelwork package. Okay.
Yeah.
Take it away, Sir Joem.
All right. Yeah. So basically, what you are currently seeing right now is my actual presentation during my APC. So it's a slide, or that time it's printed. So I need to put it. It's actually so it's just an introduction. Sorry. So I need to put it actually when I have a laptop. So when I flip my laptop open, I have to put it. I put it here, which is clipped on because they don't have a flip chart that time. So it's actually printed. So we're actually there's the panel there. We're actually sitting in one table, one panel in front of me, and then two panels just alongside of me. And then I have to present it on my laptop, and then have my flip chart there, and then open it like that. It's actually like a really it's a really traditional one.
That's
I
a
haven't
resourceful way. That's a resourceful way of a flip chart.
Yeah, that's right. So it's a really a seven pager slide. But yeah, so okay, I'll start it up. So I've actually reducted the names of the important names there because it's really a confidential one. So I don't have a permission to do that. But when I presented to Ricks, I actually have their names there because at that time I have like a permission to do so. Yeah, but then I haven't had a chance to contact the parties there. So I need to redact that. Sorry for that. But anyway, so yeah, so my case presentation is about my case study for the Ricks assessment of professional competencies. It's about project. It's a car park, and it's a project cost control system for structural steel package. So during that time, I was assigned in the multi-story car park building, which is that includes a bicycle parking, storage areas, two retail spaces, and the DES, they call it district energy scheme plant, and a part of this is actually part of a huge barracks. They call it barracks, but it's a huge building bounded in like a lot. I think it's actually covered three areas of Christchurch. So this is a big construction, and the tonnage. I think if I remember, the tonnage is 740 metric tons. If you imagine a Range Rover, it's actually I think 35 Range Rovers, I think 35 cars.
Oh wow! Okay.
So this 740 tonnage structural steel. That's the only main steel. So the main contractor is a tier one contractor, and I'm working with the subcontractor, which is an engineering firm, and they're actually focusing on building structural steel, and um, they have the supply, build, and also the erection of it. They have the fabrication as well. So it's a full team of. So I'm the QS of that uh, company. And the form of contract, as they say, it's a New Zealand standard 3910 2013 condition of contract, but then it's specifically varied by a subcontract agreement. So this 2009. So the subcontract agreement at that time is actually part of the Masters Builders Association. So it's a different contract, fully different contract if you actually merge it to New Zealand standard. So and then the type of contract, of course, most of us know it's a fixed lump sum type of contract. And yeah, as we always say, it's like that.
Without
So
fluc-
fixed
is it
price,
without
sorry,
fluctuation? Is it without
without
fluctuation?
fluctuation, without
Oh,
So not
okay.
inflation.
without fluctuation. Yeah, still, actually, it's really challenging on that time. So commencement date is 1st February 2016, and the completion date was 5th October 2016. During that time, that was already completed, and because I think I've submitted my APC documents around mid-October, if I remember it right, and my APC actual um,
May.
interview was November.
Oh,
Yeah,
The
okay. So
final
just
just
interview.
November.
after the whole
Yeah,
project is finished.
just after the whole project. Yeah, so that yeah. So yeah, and so that's the contract, and then so my role here is actually yeah, consider of the company, and then my task is to monitor the project cost control system.
Mm-hmm.
That's from inception. So I'm not part of the tendering department at the time. So I was only tasked to manage it from the inception until completion. Um, and that time I noticed that the company is actually vulnerable and exposed to commercial risk. So I cannot. I apologize because I cannot disclose here the company profit that time. But then it's really they have that year they have really a tight budget on that,
Mm-hmm.
and then financial management, including monitoring of income, cash flows, and expenditures against budgets is really a must. So you
No.
really need to monitor those. Um, they haven't talked to me. The higher management haven't talked to me about that, but then um, I've actually noticed it in the first hand because
Mm-hmm.
it's like they're actually everywhere. They're actually talking about this job, and then they need to produce it and on time and on budget. So as I recall, one of my task here is also, of course, to ensure the clients are satisfied with all the contractual requirements. So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so that's my responsibility. I also I'm responsible for the progress claims, reconciliations of payment, and most of the materials offsite insurances, um, and and the for this case study, the competencies that I have demonstrated is actually I focused more on mainly on the commercial management of construction and the quantification of costing as well, and
Mm-hmm.
how I professionally manage and advise stakeholders of financial implications and act on appropriate instance when necessary. So these are the competencies. And if we go further to one slide, and then my approach. So what are the approaches? So there are actually in the case study, you need to show the people or the assessors of how you dealt with that challenge or that issue, which is the vulnerability. So my approach, I've actually have four approaches. The system integration. I've chose this because um, the key issue is vulnerability. So you need to have a collaboration between the fabrication, the operations, and the site. right? So system integration. So, and then I'll just enumerate first, and then I'll explain one by one. Development of cost management system. So this time that is a tool which I actually used earned value management technique, and project monitoring, which is of course we know all of that cost and activity tracking and reviewing against allocated budget, and valuing or valuation of or value engineering changes to contract works and proposing effective solution. So going to them one by one. There is in our company there is what they call a gate two meeting. They normally call it a gate two meeting, and it was headed by my company's operations manager. So that time when I was called, that's the first time they issued the vulnerability issue. So it's like there's a commercial risk. So if we don't do this right, then we don't have any profit. We won't have any profit out of it. So so that's when the time the vulnerability was raised, and then
Mhm.
on a closed door meeting, I've actually asked or recommended a strategy that will integrate the project team. This will probably assist the team in managing the both shop drawings and detailing through fabrication and installation of steel items. So the strategy is to apply job numbers on major tasks. So the data of the data entry, labor, materials, plant and equipment for this project will be properly tracked and monitored, and this will be entered in the accounting system that they're using, and shall be made available for me and for the other stakeholders inside the company to properly allocate the budgeted cost on each job numbers. So
Mhm.
although there were job codes on other numbering systems in the company, I have never seen them actually maximizing the benefit and the successful of monitoring project costs. So that time, I believe it was time to go back to the basics and simplify things. This will also help them on this will also help them in understanding all my cost reports monthly or weekly,
Mhm.
and to accurately measure the actual works or actual costs incurred in this project. So the job numbers, which is actually they're actually allocated on major tasks, which is the assembly. So for example, I have assigned a specific number for EBF frames, so that's eccentrically braced frames, including the beams, columns, and braces. And then there are some moment frames as well, which is a job number because these beams or these frames are like a big one in terms of cost. There are huge costs allocated to that one. So different columns, beams, and everything. So
Mhm.
so as they understood, they've already got a parent job number, and then we've got these small job numbers to be allocated there. And then we can actually monitor how many shop drawing hours, detailing hours, or site installation and plants equipments to be used on site. So that's the job number that I've actually assigned. So that's the integration system.
Mhm.
And luckily my company's operation manager understood the process and how will this benefit the company as a whole. And then he decided to incorporate it into the company system. So it's really I'm lucky enough
Wow.
because they've actually told me that yeah we understand the process and we're open for it. Yeah.
Good.
So number two, so my strategy. Second strategy is development of cost management system, which is after the process has been agreed, we've already allocated job numbers, already know how to monitor the data or the data.
Mhm.
So I started to review all the documents relevant to this project, just including contract documents, subcontract agreement. And the first thing that came to my mind was establishing a project cost control system tool. So actually, this will establish an impact to my to the company's awareness in project cost and monitoring. So at the time, the company used monitoring techniques in production, fabrication, installation. So they normally use a chart in their offices. So the fabrication at that time is actually just just inside the company, and they have the monitoring system there, and they already have the approved um, cost estimates and everything. They have the commercial management tools. Now at this point, um, I reviewed all the cost estimates, developed all the tendering process and documents, and realized that there is no cost plans. So we know that these cost plans are really vital in terms of monitoring projects. So
Yes.
so when I and then I need to create a cost plan that will suit the project in its detailed design. So it's really important. So I requested the project manager to sum it all up. I requested the project manager to furnish me a copy of the approved construction program. So it's really
Mhm.
important for me to have the cost plan. So because I really need to know what will happen and what the scope, and the activities, durations, if they're linked together to complete the project, and then one challenge again is there's no quantities available. There's no really an actual estimate
Mhm.
coming out of the drawing. We may say there's no schedule of quantities. So I need to allocate the budget requirements and to each major system or major structural components to allocate the requirements and to know the performance measurement baseline. Because in earned value, you need to have a baseline to be able to monitor the actuals.
Of course,
So you
yes.
need to
Mhm.
baseline first. Yeah. So I need to collate everything first before doing the earned value, and it's really tedious at time, but then it will help the company. So yeah, so going further, so to expedite the process, I need the budget allocation. So I spoke with my commercial manager at the time, and to provide me a budget report, and then um, for the pre-tender estimates, I need to collate them as well, and then uh, manage the construction program in respect to time. And once it's approved, then I can go on um, with my earned value system. So upon reviewing the estimated budget cost, um, I know that in my experience in using the earned value management, and I know that this will help a lot. This will help the company a lot. Um, I know that the earned value indicators will help me to analyze and assess the project, and it will actually help the management and the client as well to whether proceed with the agreed baseline or prompt them if there are any
Mhm.
corrective actions or any necessary risks that they will encounter in the future or in the process of the work. So so I've already have the development tool. I've already have the system integration. Then the next strategy will be the project monitoring. So how will I monitor that? I don't have any people. So so that's one challenge as well. And on the project commencement, so there's shop drawings and detailing. It's really crucial because if you have it approved, if you don't have an approved shop drawings in the first instance, then this will delay the project. So commercially, my company at the time, the workshop, they discontinued to procure 8 mil thick plates. So
Mhm.
and then and then the design consultants, I think if I remember it right, the design consultants um, actually they don't normally use here an 8 millimeter thick plates. So um, so we decided to query if we can use a 10 millimeter thick plate and advise them, and and then I developed a cost comparison between the plates and found out that the it was cheaper to proceed with 10 mil thick plate rather than an 8 mil plate because of the time involved. Because if we actually because that time as the company's workshop discontinued the 8 mil thick plates, it will actually take time to order new 8 mil thick plates rather than using 10 mil thick plate. So considering the duration of the time delivery plus the cost of delivery. So it will be really a huge variation if that will be the case. So
Mm.
this will be used as stiffener plates on most of them, and so I advise them to proceed with detailing as long as the design consultants are informed of the changes. So as long as they're informed, then that's not a problem. So I also advise them that they need to highlight those modifications for future references, because when the design consultants say that okay, we didn't approve that, then at least um, we have highlighted this and we have a correspondence from them that they've actually okayed it. So yep. And then so I've managed that and asked the document controller to put everything in Aconex. The Aconex, the cloud-based document
Yes.
management
Mhm.
system. Yeah. So it's really helpful for me as well. So in terms of monitoring, and then I also advise the main contractor regarding the notification of the construction drawings. So they've already approved it, and then um, if they don't approve it, I've actually told the main contractor that they if they did not if they do not approve it, that's the stage one. Um, they will actually prolong the stage two, the stage two drawings and production or fabrication of it. So as this will affect the fabrication, um, I also told them that this will serve as an early warning notice. So a few days later, I think during the time, the consultants issued a formal issued for approval. So they call it here IFA drawings. So issued for approval drawings, and this involved the EPF frames and all the stiffeners, which they've already considered the 10 mil thick plate. So and then notify the MC and everything else, and then upon verification of works, they actually accepted this as a variation for work. So because there is a variation, because the repositioning actually, because of the 10 mil plate, the reconfiguration to the 10 mil plate was a connection on the slotted holes. So in a bracket connection, if you're using an 8 mil plate, there shouldn't be a problem with the connection. But then when you're using a 10 mil plate, there will be a variation on the slotted holes on the connections itself. There will be in a sense, even if you're using a 10 mil plate, an 8 mil plate as the original design drawing, there will still be a variation on the slotted holes. But then using the 10 mil plate, it will actually strengthen the stiff using a 10 mil plate. It will actually strengthen the stiffener and then the
Mm.
connections. And you don't need to revise any bracket connections now, but there will still be a variation on that one. So we need to verify that variations, and I have estimated all the total cost and it's submitted to the main contractor for review. So and then going forward to the next strategy is evaluation and value engineering. So direction of steelworks to site progress. It came to my knowledge that the PQS at that time, so I was working on the subcontractor. The PQS at the time wanted to claim a credit on a painting on top of the beam, the flanges. So there's an I beam, and there should be a painting on top of the beam flanges. So it's actually pointing out that there's a credit on that one because we haven't done a painting on them.
Mm.
So there's the painting, and then there will be studs to be driven on top of the flanges. So this was communicated to me by the main contractor's QS, and I was not really aware at first because I have not done the tender on that job, and then so at first I checked the drawings, verify everything on the painters. So I've asked the painters if you missed something, and however, um, after carefully considering everything, after reading the notes, the project specifications, and all those inside the drawings and all the tender documented submitted and all the tender documents submitted. So I found out that this has been considered on our tender rates. So meaning we didn't consider a painting on top of flanges because you don't have to, because that time I realized that you don't have to paint the top flanges for you to be, because you cannot drive, you cannot drive the studs there with a paint in there, because it will actually jeopardize the strength of the flanges if you paint them and then you drive a stud in there. So as per the specifications, so there's no painting, so there's no credit there, and we didn't allow any painting on top of the flanges. So I told the main contractor that, all right, there's no painting allowed there, so there will be no credit. So that's the time. And then one valuation and value engineering technique that was held here is the use of welded studs. So I think that time the challenge is that the welding studs are there's no there's no I think the challenge is on how are we going to order a certain length of the stud. So the challenge is that there has been an issue with regards to the supply and the fix of the studs to the metal decking, because you need to pour on the concrete floor there, and I've actually advised that we cannot order it now because it's a change in the design. We cannot order it now because it will jeopardize the the time or the completion, and it's already in the critical path. So practically having a background in engineering or being we're a civil engineer and structural engineer when I was in the Philippines. So I've actually thought of advising the detailer or detailer that time that that the strength the threaded stud length could possibly be achieved by using a coupler and welding the threaded stud on top of the threaded rod. So it's like you're just joining them instead of ordering a one piece of threaded stud. You can actually weld a coupler on a threaded stud, so you can form a stud. So and then what I did is just to inform and advise the design consultants that time, and I told them this will also minimize the fumes emitted in welding, because you've already welded that, and then what you will do now is just to drive it on the flange. So, and then it has been agreed by production manager and the construction manager and the commercial manager, and we've actually submitted it for approval to design consultants. So fast forward. So I think I'm actually more than 10 minutes now, but I like to
It's okay.
share this with everyone. So what are my achievements? What are the results? So as my company that time considers that this project is vulnerable, so I was actually instrumental in carrying out the project cost control system, which is the EVM, and then which helped the project management team in stakeholders for clearly understanding the performance of the project. So that's the EVM, and then actually the performance and the progress of the site or the progress of the project was recognized. So because during that time they weren't they don't know what's happening. As long as they contribute or deliver what will be constructed on site, that's fine. But then this is when the time they've actually recognized the performance and progress of the project. And then using the EVM, we've also resolved the potential serious cash flow problems. This is I'm talking about not the whole project, but then I'm talking here about the company's cash flow problems, because I'm working with a company, so I'm actually one of the commercial personnel or professional there that you need to be aware of what's happening inside the company rather than outside the company. So you need to deliver things, but then you need to think of what will happen inside the company. And then another thing is that I've developed a cost data information. So because of that, job numbers and all those data entry that we've developed, so it's actually included there. So they're actually still using it, as I'm aware, that they're still using it in the company at the moment. And then establish teamwork. So because you actually have like collaboration, you have already teamwork. So before they don't talk to each other, as long as they deliver that, okay, the detailer do the shop drawings and then pass it on to the workshop for fabrication, that's fine, and then send it to the site. Now they have this, certain tool or control system that they can actually talk about. And then yeah, and then another is the, client stakeholder satisfaction. And because I've actually proposed a few value engineering techniques and valuation, which is an issue on the, a credit on the painting of the top flange. So I think that's what helped the client be satisfied that, oh, we can actually trust the subcontractor, something like that. So they know how to design as well, so they can yeah. And then yeah, this actually led to potential ventures on the client because they're happy, the clients are happy, and they want us to build another structure for them using, using the techniques that we applied. So yeah. So and it turned out that when we actually finish the job, the whole job, until the variations are closed and the final account has been processed, there's actually a 13% gross profit, on that
Wow.
project. So it's actually a big one for us because
It is
um,
indeed.
yeah, before it's the challenge is the vulnerability. So if you don't deliver in time and on budget, and you don't monitor it correctly, then there will be no
Mhm.
profit. That's the challenge. And then yeah, and because of that, we've completed the project on time and within the budget. So I think that's the that's I think that's the overall sense, if it makes sense, of my
It
APC
does. It
um,
does.
case study. So I hope it didn't bore you enough. So but
Oh,
yeah,
that's nice.
so actually the good thing here is when I'm actually doing this case study, I wasn't actually thinking of something that will actually help me on my APC. When I was actually doing this case study, I was actually thinking of like what I've done in the company for the past,
Yeah. Yes.
past few months or few years, something like that. And oh yeah, so talking about, so I almost forgot. I think I need to go back to the earned value management. So talking about earned value management. So the project has not been completed. Yeah, the project has been completed, and the cost performance index of the project was 1.11. So it means it's actually exceeded the 100%. So that's 11% exceeded, and the schedule performance index, or SPI, is less than one, which is 0.95, with a combined average index of 1.03. So when you say it's 1.03 combined index, so as long as it's more than one, it's
It's okay.
actually you can say that it's a project success.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's the unfortunately I haven't prepared my appendices on this one, so I wish to talk about that more thoroughly, but then I can probably talk it on other CPD events if you like, about
Yes.
earned value
Yeah.
management. So I can actually
I'll schedule
um,
it, Sir Joem.
yeah,
Now we
yeah,
already
let me
have
know.
a topic for
Yeah,
GCPD next year.
Yeah. Next year.
yeah. So yeah, I can actually um, base my earned value technique in this case study, and then I will show you more of the
Mm.
earned value
Nice.
management
Yeah.
that I made. So yeah, so I think that's that, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation.
Of course,
Thank
it's a
you.
very it's a very
It's a
great
long one though.
case study. No, the whole process is inspiring because we have to look into it. Steel price is going up nowadays, and it's
Yeah,
really great to have this kind of cost control monitoring process to maximize the profitability of the project, because it's one of the major materials in any construction. So
that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
this is a vital thing to learn, especially
Yeah.
the EVM, and we are looking forward to having you in
And
the
the
GCPD
TPD.
for for
yeah.
this topic.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
earned value management is one of the I think in RICS, it's one of the technique in
Yes, a
cost
tool.
control. It's one tool
Yes,
in
yes.
cost management system, so it's really helpful. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it also Sir Joem highlighted our role as a QS is also to protect the profit of our company. That's our main goal if we're in the commercial
yeah,
side.
yeah.
So
Of course,
I
yeah,
think we need to bear that in mind, not just to complete our work, but of course be mindful with what we do and contribute
Yes,
to our company's success.
correct.
of course,
Because if
yeah,
there's no profit, then why are we working? Why
Yes.
what is this project for if it's not
yeah.
for profit, right?
Not for profit. Yeah. So you should be working on an NGO
Our
or
case
not for
study,
profit
Sir John's case
organization.
study and mine is almost the same. We have the same problem. The case study
Yeah,
of Sir John and mine is the same problem. So,
yeah.
Wow.
but I tackled more on the client care practices, and
All
then
right.
Oh,
more
Yeah.
on what call this uh, proactive cost control practices. That's my case
wow.
study.
All right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then
Well,
then
that's
we're
that's a
gonna
good
have
one.
you.
When I get
It's
my RICS.
when you get that one, we're gonna have you here in Patch again. This time as a featured guest.
Yes,
Let's
yes, of
see,
course.
hopefully.
Okay, now let's take a look at the as PICQS hosts this PAQS 24th Congress. Let us hear more about the Congress itself, which is happening on November 14 and 15, 2021.
Pacific Association of Quantity Surveyors of PAQS, together with Philippine Institute of Certified Quantity Surveyors, PICQS, brings you PAQS Congress 2021. The heightened measures of pandemic cannot stop us as PAQS 21st Congress goes digital.
Shall we begin?
More than 15 delegate countries around the globe will welcome you virtually to the annual gathering of QS professionals.
Let's begin.
Australia, China, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Brunei, Japan, New Zealand, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Canada, Singapore, Fiji, South Korea, and South Africa. PICQS hosts PAQS Congress 2021. Are you one of us? Register now and be part of this much-awaited event for practitioners in the built environment. PICQS hosts PAQS 24th Digital Congress 2021. Take part in the largest annual event of quantity surveyors and the members of the built environment as we showcase world-renowned speakers from different parts of the world and deliver seminars with theme Creating Smart Cities to help build the future, embracing digitalization and sustainability. See you virtually. For details on registration, please do access paqs2021.com. See you!
Okay, we've now reached the last part of our program, which is
Yes.
on the final assessment interview, and we are very excited to hear about after this case study presentation. There are a lot of questions going on in our minds, and which also led us to a reservation of a GCPD happening next year.
Yes.
So let us go and check out the APC questions that were thrown and then asked of you after you have done your case study presentation. So the first question is, okay, what is earned value management, and what are its limitations?
Yeah. So hello. Yeah. Hello. Can you still hear me? You still there?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought I lost you. Yeah. So it's actually composed of one question, but then actually the assessors actually put on more questions when I answered them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Follow
it's
up
like I
question.
was,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a follow up questions, and I was like really stunned. But then it boils down to one thing: if you know what your case study and what
Yes.
you're talking about, then you can actually answer it. So
Mm.
so basically, when I was asked what is an earned value management, I just told them that it's a cost control technique. It's a project management technique as well, where you can actually measure the project progress in the important thing is to show an objective manner in to be able to um, measure it. And then EVM or earned value management, it's a combined measurements of scope, schedule, and cost in a single integrated system or in a single tool. So this will
Mhm.
provide early warning wherein you can actually see if your cost or schedule is going up and down. This will provide an early warning for performance problems. And I told the assessors that it is the management of value of the work actually accomplished, and and it's just not monitoring it. It's actually used as the cost rates set out on the original budget. So you're actually um, pertaining or comparing it to your original baseline or original
Mm.
budget. So the EVM information provides the efficiency with which the budgeted money is used relatively to realize the value. So this helps to forecast estimated costs and schedule of the project completion. So there are many techniques in the earned value that you can actually calculate whether you need to forecast the forecast completion, whether it's an estimated one, and then there's a cost to complete and a schedule to complete. So that's that. And then going forward, that actually they actually asked me as well what are the limitations. So I told them that, of course, there are limitations of the earned value management technique. So I think if I remember it right, I told them that the limitation that it is not considering the quality of the works. Of course, the quality will always be on the site. So it's only measuring the scope, schedule, and cost, but
That's
not the
right.
quality of works. Yeah. So if the project is within budget or ahead of
Mm.
schedule, and scope is fully executed, and then the client may not be happy due to poor quality of works.
Mm.
Even if it's ahead of schedule. That's why it's really
Yeah.
important that you actually combine your earned value management in your construction program. So if you have a construction program, and then you have your earned value management, you can actually have the schedule, the schedule and the cost in terms of the program. So you can say that if it's actually on the program or not, or in the critical path. But then the scope, the quality of the scope, it depends on the site, site team.
Mm.
So it's one of the limitations. So that's what I've mentioned there. Yeah.
Good to hear. Okay, but so after this, the company that the where you have established this one, they have been continuously adopting this system, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Which is very
Yeah,
good. It's like you have left a legacy
A
there,
legacy,
and
yeah.
then
yeah, yeah.
before moving to another company.
Yeah, actually, I've actually um, let them use my tool, yeah, because it's just a spreadsheet wherein
Mm.
you will just, it's a matter of just incorporating their all the data that you've collected, all
Mm-hmm.
the costs and all the budget baseline, and then it will
Yeah.
generate by itself. So it's just a matter of just tweaking it a bit
Uh-huh.
to be able to adapt uh,
Mm.
with the project. So it's just a
Uh-uh.
spreadsheet, but a mere spreadsheet can really help a project a lot.
Yeah.
Of
You can
course.
really
Yes.
profit. You don't have to use like
A
a really
program.
expensive project management tool. Yeah, but yeah,
Agree. Mhm.
yeah. As
As
long as
long
you've
as
got,
your spreadsheet is comprehensive enough to have all
yeah,
the data that you need, and you have
correct.
the proper analysis of this data, and then you use it
Yep,
for on how you progress or you forecast your budget as well as
yep.
the cost that you need to finish the whole thing, then yes, you can never go wrong with this spreadsheet.
That's right. Yeah, you can never go wrong.
Okay, now let's check on the next APC question, which is what clause? I think Bea, this is something that you would like to ask.
Okay, this is for the okay for this for New Zealand. I think Sir John discussed it in the previous CPD about this.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. What clause in NZ S3910 is retention monies, and what is the standard percentage to be retained in each progress payment, and the limit of total sums retained? So we are not really aware about the New Zealand
Yeah,
contract, so please enlighten us.
yeah. Normally, yeah. So in New Zealand, there's this a contract that they call a New Zealand standard because it's actually produced by New Zealand standards. So
Mhm.
it's independent company that's actually producing all the standards in New Zealand, including the standard for building works, the standard for measuring. So it's everything
Mm.
in there. So NZS 3910 or 2013 edition. It's the latest for all those contracts for those contracts. So retention monies basically it's actually covered on 12.3.
Mhm.
So you can
Mm.
actually see on clause 12.3 that there should be monies that needs to be retained or otherwise be payable to the contractor.
Mm.
So they can actually choose whether there is a bond or retention
Mm.
bonds. But if not, there is a certain percentage that you need to deduct. So depending on the sliding percentage rule, because there's no in New Zealand there's no fixed retention, like you
Mm.
cannot fix it in 5% or 10%. You can actually
Mm.
agree with that, but then the standard is always they always call for a certain percentage. So it doesn't matter whether it's a small job or a huge job, but you can always agree if you can actually have a retention bond or not. But the normal
Mm.
retention is actually the first 200,000 will be 10%,
Mm.
and
Oh.
So
then yeah,
there's a
so
bracket.
there's a bracket, yeah. So and then the next 800,000, so the 200,000 30%, the next 800,000 that will be 5%, and then
Oh.
Mm.
the amounts in excess of $1 million will be 1.75%.
Mm.
So it's like
But then
progressive
yeah, yeah, it's
retention.
like
Yeah.
progressive. Yeah, so
Mhm.
it will actually not it will not bankrupt the contractor because there
Yeah.
is a limit.
Okay.
There's a
Yes.
limit. So in this clause, there's a Schedule 1 in NZS 3910 which says if you use this sliding percentage or the bracket percentage rule, there is a maximum of 200,000
Mm.
aggregated. So if you've already reached a 200,000 retention, then that's it. Like
Oh.
Mm.
if so say for example that you have like 200,000 already retained in the trust fund or in the trust, then that's it. You cannot exceed
Yeah.
that.
Mm.
You cannot. Oh, you
Yeah,
cannot
Yeah.
retain any further monies after that.
yeah, that's right.
Mm.
Correct. So that's it.
Yeah.
Or if you don't want to do that, you can actually choose a um, another um, retention. This is a retention bond, or you can actually ask the contractor if they will, they're amenable with 10% all throughout. But it doesn't
Uh-huh.
Mm,
happen. It doesn't normally happen
yeah.
in New Zealand. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
That's
So it's
nice
really
to hear
different.
because the usual practice is
It's
based
10%.
on the
Yeah.
actual work done, you deduct 10% until
10%.
the capped value of 10% of the total contract sum.
Mm,
That's right.
that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Progressively,
Yeah.
it's going to be 10%
Yeah.
all throughout.
10%
Yeah.
So
all
it's
throughout. Yeah.
Also.
mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think in FIDIC,
Yeah.
not sure
FIDIC
if I remember correctly. Yeah, FIDIC is 10%. Am I correct?
10%. Correct.
Yeah, 10%. And then there are some contracts which is only 5%.
yes, yes.
I think that's JCT, or yeah, I don't remember it now, but I think that's JCT, 5% of
Mm-hmm.
retention. But then
Mm,
they're trying to, I think in New Zealand right now at the moment, they're trying to revise this these contracts now. So
Mm-hmm.
I think they're trying to organize something that will actually help the contractors as well, because the contractors here are crying out because of the
yeah.
retentions. So
Yeah. For the cash
yeah,
flow.
for the cash flow. So yeah, so that's what they're trying to do at the moment.
Mm,
Okay. Now we move on to the best part of the question. I think this is a question that will uh not escape any APC candidate.
Yeah,
Definitely there will be one ethics question that will be raised when you sit
yes.
for your final assessment
Yes.
interview. So yours is this one. Okay, so whilst you were talking with an MRICS friend, he told you that he does not have a PI insurance, even though he is running a chartered surveyor practice. So what should you do?
yeah. So basically, this is I think general question, because this is not
Uh-huh.
actually applicable
It's
to New Zealand. But then, if you're actually eyeing for chartered status, this will most possibly be asked to you.
I think it's also in
Because
the exam. In the ethics
yeah, it's
exam.
also in the
Similar
exam.
question.
Yeah, is it in the exam? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not sure of that. Yeah, but yeah, it's really possible, because you're eyeing for chartered status and not for
Mm,
any other status. So this will probably be a question for you. So basically, you will advise your friend to take professional indemnity insurance. That's the
mhm,
Uh-huh.
that's the
Yes.
basic answer for that. But
yeah.
but the long answer will be you will convince him
To
to
take.
take a professional indemnity insurance, because um, um, you have to convince him. Actually, you have to convince him and to tell him the importance of taking a PA insurance,
Yes.
because if you're practicing, or in your chartered surveying practice, your professional practice, once there it's really risky, especially when you're doing contracts. So normally in New Zealand, we have like I think a million thousand professional insurance for every project, and it's aggregated. So that's what we have. So if you're working with a PQS firm, you're already covered. So you don't have to, you don't have to take your PA insurance by yourself, because you're already covered by the company. So
Mhm.
but then the trick here is that there will be a follow up question from the assessors that will say, okay, what if you've already told him that
Mm,
the importance of the PI, and then the PA insurance, and then you've already advised him to take the PA insurance, but what if he's still running the business without the PI, and you've learned it again for a second time? So what will you do? So that's the tricky question.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I don't want my friend to be angry with me. I don't want to be, but the best answer is, inform you will actually inform the RICS office, or
Yeah.
the RICS authority of about that.
Mm,
So that's the
Correct.
that's the best the
That's
best
the
answer.
ethical way.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the
yeah.
ethical way, because you've already warned him.
Yeah.
warn him,
That's
and
the
then you have
first step.
already explained to him, yeah, and he knows about it. He's already a chartered status
Yeah.
member,
Yes.
yeah, so it's already a chartered surveyor. So basically, he knows what will happen if he doesn't have like a PA insurance. So yeah, so I think that's, yeah, that's the best answer if they actually have a follow up question. So what will you do if you caught him
Yes.
again without PA insurance? Yeah.
Yes, so
So
that's just to teach him a lesson, but it's not always. It's also for his own good. If anything happens,
yeah,
then at least he should
yeah,
the way he practices protected rather than just losing the license all throughout.
Yes.
So
correct,
you'll be
correct.
the entire effort that he has gone
Yeah.
through to achieve that charter status, it will be gone.
Yeah,
After
yeah. So that's
he gets.
it's really, and having a chartered status is not, it's no joke. It's
Yes.
really a tedious process, and you don't want to lose it because you don't have a pay insurance. Just not having a
Yes,
pay insurance, So
agree.
yeah,
Yes.
so yeah, so yeah. So I
Okay,
think
there you have
that's
it. It's really nice to hear all these questions and the case
Yes.
study itself. We would like to have the copy of the tool that you have utilized for your case study. Okay, but before we finally conclude our patch session this afternoon, let us hear one more word from our one of our sponsors for PQS 2021.
RIB Software is a pioneering enterprise committed to driving innovation and technological advances in the construction and real estate industries. I2 CostX by RIB is being used in over 90 countries around the world, and it is a complete estimating solution with 2D takeoff, 5D beam support, integrated workbooks, and customizable reports, all in one program. Become faster, smarter, and more accurate today with I2 CostX.
Okay, so it's at 10 p.m. there in New Zealand, Mr. Joem, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And now it's like 12 noon or 1 p.m. Is it
1 p.m.
1
Yeah,
p.m.
1
now
p.m.
with Bea, and now it's 5 p.m. here in Singapore. And we have just concluded and finished the whole patch session. Thank you very much. It's a very
Thank you,
exciting
Sir
case
Joy.
study, and Bea, we're looking forward to having or hearing good news on your final assessment or final interview. Sir John, why don't
yeah.
you give a word or a word of advice to our viewers and anything that you would like to share with them before we close?
Well, I just wanted to say that if you're really up to it, then go for it. Don't hesitate. If you already started doing your statement of statement of competencies or SOEs, or you haven't started your APC case study yet. um, don't hesitate. You really have to focus on first doing a chartered surveyor. You need to focus first on what a chartered surveyor must do in his professional capacity at your work, and then after that, you can actually develop your SOE, or statement of experience, or statement of competencies.
Mm.
And if you don't have case study yet, uh, you don't have to think of a really challenging, or really, what do you call this, really difficult task
Yes.
that you have done in your entire career. It's just as simple as, like what Mom Julie always say to us when we were just starting. It's just as simple as like a variation of one of adding one door, or just relocating another door. It's just that, as long as you've actually done what is needed in that competency, and then that's fine. It doesn't have to be complicated. So
Correct. Mm.
for the young, um, for all the young and aspiring certified or chartered surveyors, wherever you may be, I would tell you that, their PACQ is always there to help you, be a member of PACQS, whether you're a technical member or I think is there still a provisional member? I think no provisional members anymore, right?
No
So
provisional
as long as
members
you
here. Associate.
yeah, so associates you.
There's
So
still
if
a
even if
provisional, yes.
all right,
Provisional,
okay,
technical, then
even
associate.
yeah, even if you're a provisional member, you're still starting in your career. Make
Correct.
sure that you have someone who can actually supervise you in what you're doing, because when you started right, all throughout you can actually you can never be wrong all throughout. Yeah,
Correct.
once you started
Mm.
right. And what I always tell my colleagues and my team, my teammates, is that even if you're not doing it inside your job, do it. You know, even if it's not required by your direct supervisor or manager, just do it. Do the standard. Then
Yes,
afterwards, you can present it to them, and then they can actually see um, the progress, or see the performance that you've done, and
mm,
what it actually made to help the company. So yeah, so you don't have to limit yourself on what your day-to-day job is. You know,
correct. Yeah.
you have to explore. Yeah, so
Yes,
that's
agree.
a bit of just a gist of advice coming from. Yeah,
That's a great advice. And yes, so we're looking forward to more advice coming from you, Sir Joem, as we
Yes.
tackle and then have our GCPDs. There's a lot of your very
of course.
inspiring story. Thank you so much. So now let's hear it from Bea.
Yeah, thank you again, Sir Joem, for your time, and we are so inspired with your passion for lifelong learning, continuously improving yourself and learning new things to not only for yourself but also for in the service for other people in your company. Uh, Words for other QS out there. I started as a provisionally member of PICQS. So I
Wow.
worked my way until I get my APC. So
Oh,
if
wow.
you're really dedicated on what you're doing, you can do it because PICQS, we have a very dedicated members who's what I call this, they're not selfish. They're very generous to give you their time to mentor you and to guide you to your journey.
Wow, yes, agree. And okay, thank you very much for that wonderful message. And thank you very much, Sir Engineer Joem Baldesco, for gracing us with your
Yes,
presence
thank
and for
you.
sharing your APC study here in Patch. And as we always say, keep on challenging yourselves. And before you know it, you already have the chartered or the certified professional status. So without further ado, we enjoyed every bit of this ninth session of Patch and see you again next for our 10th session. See you in
See you.
Patch, and thank you very
Thanks,
much,
thanks,
everyone.
AJ. Thanks,
Thank
Bye.
AJ.
you.
Thanks, Rhea. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for
Thank
listening.
you.
Let us take a virtual road trip to the land of the keys and join your hosts, AJ Paredes and Manuel, as Pat shares the blow-by-blow account of Engineer Joem Baldesco's APC journey with his case study, Project Self-Control System for Structural Steel Work Passage. All these and more on 16th October, Saturday, 3 p.m. Manila time. See you!